morning from Tabara. Just leaving town now. In fact, it looks like they're setting up for some sort of fiesta here today. The chaps are setting up framing for some sort of stand, a bandstand and the like. Saturday, weather looks pretty promising as well. We're off today to Camarzana de Tera, which is about 28 kilometres. It's a bit longer than the gazetted stop today. I couldn't get accommodation there, so I'll have to walk on an extra 5k's to the accommodation. But it is on the way, so tomorrow's day will be a little shorter as a result. Feeling good, had a good night's rest. Looking forward to the day ahead. Yesterday was an absolutely fantastic day. I'll actually keep those flowers in the background, that's very pretty. Yesterday was a great day, and hopefully this day can be just as enjoyable. I'll call you once the sun's a little higher in the sky and we'll be cruising. Cheers. On the road again. So we're just not too far out of Tabara here. Look, I don't know whether I am cheating again, but my route had us coming out on this road, which follows basically parallel to the Camino path, which is just off to the left here. But considering the road is so quiet and it gets elevated in places, and I like that vista, this is just wonderful. So we're just winding our way through the hills here. The road sort of continued to the north, and we're pulling off to the west here a little bit. Just coming over the crest of a hill here. I can't help thinking that colour of the soil is very similar to what we get in more central parts of Australia, that really dark red colour. It's obviously accentuated by the frost overnight that's made it a little damp. Just looking into the distance there, yeah, it is sad. I'm going to look up and investigate these fires that they've obviously had through here. It's taken a lot of this bushland out. We're in the valley now. Still very pleasant walking. Actually, we had a little bit of rain in town yesterday, like a sun shower, but it looks like they've had a little bit more here. Not a lot though. It's just where it's hit the ground, it's hit the dust, it's caused those tiny little craters. It's very flat in here. No fences here, so I don't know what they, I'm not quite sure what they use this land for. On this side it's crops, but this side I'm not so sure. Well, welcome, or we're just coming into Villanueva de las Peras, you can see there on the sign. This town here has got a feeling of one of those really arid hot towns. I don't know why, but you can see just in the hills just behind the village there, either through erosion or they've been mining sand or whatever from them. You've got that sort of depression there, just where the village is perched. It's nice they've got these flower beds here on the way, and I suppose that's very pretty actually. Anyway, we'll check out town and then we'll move on to our next stop. I did some research, and sure enough, yeah, there were bushfires late in July in this region, In fact, they extended from the south of Tabara, which is where we stayed last night. There's a magnificent church, look there, hang on a sec. So they extended from south of Tabara, and we're still seeing them here. Something like, they said 25,000 hectares were burnt out. And what's sort of strange in a way is that we've been walking through that fire zone from one edge of it almost to the other. In fact, the fire has just been to the rear of this this village. On those hills we saw behind, you could see that there were charred areas there. So yeah, 25,000 hectares. It's sort of hard to visualize that, but when you've been walking, and it's hours of walking, you really do get a bit of a sense of just how big that bushfire was. In fact, yes, you can still see the effects of it on the hills we're approaching here. I think I'm on the Camino. I'll have to double check in a moment. Yeah, just another shot here from the road, and you can see it's been through these hills, which are not heavily treated at the best of times, I don't think. So I think the recovery is going to take some time, tragically. I'm not sure about the signage back there, but I'm following my mapping app here, and it looks like we'll be following this road all the way into Santa Croix. It does seem very quiet, mind you, which is fine with me. Welcome to Santa Croix de Tera. You can see a church in the distance there, and indeed our next town is Santa Marta de Tera, or San Marta de Tera, and that's only in 2 kilometres time. So actually travelling through quite a few little towns today. The official end of this leg is Santa Marta de Tera, but I've got to move on a bit beyond that, 5 kilometres to another town, just to get my accommodation sorted out tonight. But this feels like a nice little town again. Well, this is just splendid. I'm sitting essentially on the steps, or on a seat near the entrance of what I think is their municipal hall, just opposite Plaza Mayor, which is a simple affair here in Santa Croix, or Santa Croix, but nevertheless lovely. And there is a park straight ahead here that I'm just looking at and taking it all in. This is a very nice little town, I think. It's got a nice feel to it. I've had half my cheese roll. I've got another half to go, followed by nuts and maybe even some chocolate if things go well. So that's all going well. I'll flip the camera around. That's what I'm looking at here, and it's just lovely. They've got a swimming pool, a public swimming pool. There's a bar just there, and lovely parkland there. This is all very civilised, and I do enjoy my picnics. And I'm sitting in the shade here. The temperature is just perfect. There's a light breeze. Oh, I've had fantastic luck with weather on this trip so far. It's not to say that tomorrow won't be raining, but gee, I've done. It's today. It's Saturday. I even lost track of the days. I should know Saturday. Yeah, we're coming up to almost 4 weeks of walking on Wednesday, so 3.5 weeks with only 1 day of rain. So very happy with that. Sky's just beautiful and clear, and yeah, feeling good with my little picnic here. So we'll connect up when we get to Santa Marta. just a shot looking back into Santa Croix de Tera. Fantastic stopping point. It's and even here you can see there's heaps of parkland with chairs and tables in shade. It sometimes can be a bit of a challenge in towns, and it is weird that a lot of the seating actually tends to be on the sunny side of the street, and it's hard finding seating under shade, which is, you know, nice if you're going to stop for a little while and the weather's warmish or you're fairly warm from the walk. But this little town here was perfect. It was wonderful for my stop, but just as I've been walking through it, it sort of meanders through for half a kilometre or so. There were plenty of scenic options, like tons, as you sort of walk along a river. And then just coming out of town here, I've just seen this other parkland here that you could easily sit down and have a very pleasant lunch. So yeah, definitely worth a remembering if you wanted to have a stop here. But yeah, this is nice. Rio Tera. So I assume these Tera, all these places are de Tera, of Tera. I assume they're all along the same river here. Yeah, that was a nice town. Santa Marta, as it happens, is literally a neighbouring town. It's just here. So this is also a little rare that we've been blessed with 1, 2, 3 towns on this walk today, which, as I said, the standard walk is relatively short, about 23 kilometres or something. So a little unusual, but still nevertheless. Let's have a look at Rio Tera here. Oh, it looks very nice. Actually, it's not a bad size either. There we go. Well, that's about as much as Santa Marta de Tera you're going to get. That's about all I got. The road came into town, and because I'm pushing on, I've pulled off. I am actually on the Camino. I'll just peel off this to the next village, but which doesn't sit directly on the Camino Sanabrés. But yeah, that wasn't much of a stop. Sorry about that. So we didn't really get to see much of Santa Marta, but I'm sure it's lovely. And if it's anything like its sibling just over the river there, Santa Croix, I'm sure it'd be absolutely lovely. This is special, isn't it? Look at this. Walking through a plantation forest, and it's interesting, these trees, I'm certain they're poplars. Well, just heading into Camarzana, we're probably only about a kilometre out, but what's interesting, I peeled off the Camino because I had to cut back across to the road there to the right, and I had a route planned out because I can see all the secondary roads on my tracking app. And sure enough, as luck would have it, the road that I wanted to travel on, or the path, the trail like this, had been closed off for a boar hunting exercise, a wild boar hunting exercise. So I've had to wind my way around some of the other tracks. Fortunately, there's a lot in the area. Obviously, it's taken me a bit out of my way, but that's not a killer. But I run into a chap back there on the corner, and he's in his full jungle gear, sort of with the jungle print on it. I'm trying to strike up a conversation, asking him if it's Segura. You might just see at the end of this path there is a punter there dressed in an orange jacket. So it is done relatively safely. I assume I don't know how you do boar hunts, but you flush the animals out. They've got dogs here as well, so I think I'm going to be very happy getting to my destination tonight. One, I don't want a dog snapping at me or mistaking me for a boar. And secondly, it'd be nice if I was able to get to my accommodation tonight without being shot. Yeah, if those two things, I can get through those two things, I'll be very happy. I wasn't quite expecting this. I suppose it is weekend, so these are sporting shooters, I suppose, or whatever they call them here. But yeah, bit of a worry. Anyway, this guy's watching me at least, so I feel a little safer in that regard. I'll give you an update when we get into town. Well, I've never walked so quickly. That was dispatched very quickly, that section there. You can see the road just off to our right. Look, from what I understand, they must stake out the field with shooters at each corner. So I was sort of moving around these shooters, and I suppose they're set up in such a way as they don't end up shooting each other. Now, I don't know, they must have thought I was a real nutter. That I just choose a hunting day to walk through that field. But you just don't know these things. The guide did say, look, just take the road out, you know, from Santa Marta 4 or 5 kilometres. I thought, oh no, look, I'll stick to the Camino, and I can see some paths there. I'll just cut inland. You can see they've even got warning tape up here. I'd be happy to get under this. Excuse me. Peligro Batida. I don't know what that means. But so there you go, so that's why I'm here. But I'll be making my way back to the main road and getting the hell out of here very quickly. So that was one very exciting end to the day. I have to say, I don't want to get too dramatic, the people I met probably did wonder what the hell I was doing there, but they seemed like all decent punters. In fact, some of them seemed bored, so excuse the pun there. Maybe they're bored because there are no boar, but oh look, oh the road. I've never felt, you know, after having travelled perhaps incorrectly on the road earlier today, and then wanting to do some more time on the actual Camino, the paths off the road, I managed to choose a boar hunt or a boar capture to walk through. Anyway, these things happen. Look, the walk today, good walk, quite pleasant, an easy walk, pretty much flat all day, plenty of towns. The one I stopped at for lunch was lovely, so yeah, just an easy walk, and then in the afternoon through the trees and through the boar hunt, that was all good as well. Any boar hunt you can walk away from is a good one, apparently. I'll just be coming into my town here, which is there. It's probably got signs up everywhere saying, look, you know, celebrating the inaugural hunting of the boar. Again tomorrow, I'll give you an update in the morning obviously, but I think an equivalent day, high 20s, 30 kilometre day tomorrow. Just coming into Camarzana de Tera. What's interesting is that the hotel, I can just see up there on the right, has exactly the same signage, the same font, the same colour, the same everything as the one I stayed in Tabara last night. So maybe it's part of a chain. In any case, I'm looking forward to getting in there, getting off this road, getting away from wild boars and particularly getting away from shooters. Well, good morning from Camarzana de Tera. Had a good night's stay. Still very quiet, apart from that huge truck up ahead that's about to destroy the silence here. Hang on a moment. Remembering that it's Sunday today in Spain, so apart from bars, mostly everything and restaurants, everything else will be closed. You can see that's the essentially the main street here. Our walk today is to Mombuey, and it's about 30 kilometres. It's a little shorter than the standard stage because we walked 5 kilometres to Camarzana last night. Hopefully everything's going to be all okay today, and I hope I don't stray into any boar hunts again. I could avoid those in the future. If I could avoid those in the future, I'd be very happy. So other than that, look, it's a pretty crisp morning. We will be going through quite a number of towns today. So obviously this valley is quite populated with villages like this one. So looking forward to that. And that, look, it seems like a pretty clear sky today, so yet another a good day's walking ahead, I believe. So I head up here for a while, then we'll take a road down to the left where we'll reconnect with the Camino Trail again, hopefully bypassing that boar hunt, and continue the journey. I'll catch up with you when the sun's up a bit, the sun's in the sky a bit more. Ciao. Very pleasant walking through here. The river's off to our right. It's some way off to the right. And we're just finding our way through these plantations. A very different style of walking to what we've had over the last couple of days, where it's been more open. This is quite enclosed. That's lovely, isn't it? Just hovering there above the ground. You can, I mean, we've had, maybe about a week and a half ago, some of the mornings were those, or 2 weeks back, some of those mornings were those cold knuckle mornings. Well, this is one of those mornings as well. So there's a real sharpness in the air. As it happens, I didn't bring gloves. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not this sort of a sharp cold continues in the morning, but oh yeah. Well, you can see the sun's up, and that's my shadow there, so it indicates we're walking approximately west. They say the Camino provides, and it just provided me a little snack then. There was an apple tree alongside one of the corn fields there, and I grabbed an apple from the tree, and it was very nice. It wasn't too sweet, but definitely wasn't bitter either. So, and I think it was a wild tree. I wasn't stealing food from someone's garden or anything like that. This is all pretty wild out here. You can see more of our, well, poplars, but you see that's how a poplar looks. You see the the number of stems it has from the base. Quite surprising that they can get them with only one trunk. Just entering Camarzana de Tera. Savage dog there off to my left. Our first town for the day. You might just make out the church in the background there, a more modern building there this time. I think our arrows went this way. Okay, we'll head through here, and the next village I think is only five or so k's further on, 5 to 7 k's further on. Oh, there's an older church just through there, or a chapel. Well, you'd be happy to know I'm off the Camino again. That's what happens when you, I think, shoot too many movies and don't concentrate on the signage. But no big deal. I think the path is actually just off to our right in this case, and our next town is just up here in any case, Olaros de Tera. So again, two towns that almost just connect with each other. And this is interesting. Drinking water. Nice to know that you can get that. Mind you, that wouldn't be on the Camino path. You'd only get that if you strayed like I have done here. Just coming into Olaros de Tera. Looks like another very pretty little village here. And with a bit of luck, we'll pick up the Camino again from here. Oh, look at that. The colour on these flowers here. Is that magnificent? I think I might actually, there you go, doing a bit of orienteering here. I might head toward the church. It's probably going to be our best bet to find the trail again. Fountains, drinkable. Just showing you here more of these apple trees that have been planted alongside cornfields. So there's obviously some synergy there between the two crops, I would say. But I mean, there's not that many apple trees. The apples are just falling on the ground, as you can see. But obviously it blends in well with the corn. I mentioned to you the other day, when you walk through the cornfields, it does have a smell. It has a slightly fruity smell. And now that I'm thinking of apples, it sort of has a similar sort of smell. So look, there must be some linkage between the two. They wouldn't have them here otherwise. And essentially, as you can see, they're just planted along the edges of the cornfields. I mean, that tree is full of apples. Goodness me. And they're flourishing. This soil, as I said yesterday, in this valley must be very fertile and rich. Another tree here. think I might try this apple here. I'll see what that's like. Man, I don't know whether they mind people taking their fruit, seeing it's all over the ground and on the path here. Magnificent. Crisp. Sweet. Oh, that's a really good apple. It's not a very big apple, but it's magnificent. The Camino provides yet again. Sorry to be eating while I'm walking and filming. I'll shut this off before something goes wrong, and we'll catch up soon. Just an update from the trail. I think we're going to be navigating around a lake shortly. There is a river off to our right here in the valley below. And in the distance there, I can see, it looks like a dam wall. And I can see power lines, so I assume there's a bit of hydro electricity generation going on here as well. So yeah, this could be quite interesting. So the path is good, but we'll be hitting this lake fairly soon, and there may indeed be some good photo opportunities. But let's see. Gee, we're actually on the other side. The dam wall extends from, it looks like, this bank to the one over there. I wonder if we actually walk across it. That would be that'd be quite interesting. We've been climbing probably for the last 20 minutes or so. You might just make out that dam wall. It's getting closer. I can't tell, but I do think we will cross that, but we'll see. As you can see from footage here, the fires also ravaged this area as well. Now, whether that's the same fire or related to the one that started south of Tabara, I'm just not so sure. But yeah, not ideal for an area which is, I assume, supposed to be a bit of a catchment. Just on the dam wall. Oh, hang on. You might be able to hear that. That's just that's some water gushing out into the river below. We'll have a film of that in a minute. It's look, it is a pity in a way they had these fires here, because it's the banks are just not as pretty or as treed. But yes, that's a decent size. And downstream, hang on, I'll just cross this barrier here. Sorry. And you'll see that water gushing out there through the hydro station. It's quite incredible, really, how much energy. It doesn't look that much lower than the water level on the other side of the dam here, but look at the water. Look at the stream of water coming out there. Phenomenal. It seems, from what I can tell here, it looks like they might have, I don't know, 2 turbines or something. It's not exactly a huge setup, but still, they're capturing what they can get. The river there, and just in the distance, just on the right-hand side of the river, was a church that had been beautifully restored. I think it might have been restored with private money. It sits in the middle of nowhere, between 2 towns, so I don't know how often it's frequented, but you could see in through a little grill that they had there, and yeah, it looks in beautiful condition inside. Some very nice walking here around the lake or the catchment. Obviously a bit striking when you see these essentially empty plains or empty hills that have just been stripped by the fire that seems to have literally burnt everything in its way. What is interesting, obviously it's burnt on the other side as well, and you think, oh geez, you know, how can the fire spread to the other side here? But in heavy winds, as we've seen at home in Australia, in heavy winds, embers can be carried considerable distances, and I assume that some have made their way even across this this lake here, landed on this bank and burnt this this area of land out. So it's a bit green up here, so obviously the fire didn't get just here, but yeah, anyway, it happens. It's beautiful setting here. We're entering into our next village, Villars de Fafon. A lovely name. Unfortunately, the Camino sign there has been, I think it's sun damaged. Oh, it might be a bit of fire damage as well. There's still evidence of fire damage here, but that's a very nice walk. Well, this is the life. I've got this all to myself. The Camino path is just behind me. I have here a tuna roll that I am really enjoying, and just rolling hills. Hang on, just pan through there. That's my lunch vista. Never in the history of the Camino Sanabrés has anybody enjoyed a feast like this, followed with nuts and other bits and pieces. I've had apples today, wild growing apples, which were just magnificent. Don't think there's a heap of distance to go. I think we might have another about 12 kilometres, 10 kilometres to go. But this is nice. We're coming back into hilly country, and though you can't see it there in the background through all that fog and whatever, are some quite imposing mountains, so I assume we'll devour those at some stage. Okay, ciao. Just winding through the countryside here. You can see it a little dry, but the path is in pretty good condition, relatively flat. But you can start to feel a bit the heat of the day, though it is by no means boiling today. It's probably 25, I would say. It's just you don't get much of a breeze down here. But yeah, it's very enjoyable walking through these grasslands. We seem to be on a bit of a plateau here. And again, I know this sounds like a real privilege, but I've got it all to myself. Well, welcome to our fourth village on the trail today. This is Rio Negro del Puente. We're actually going across a puente of sorts here, but not the one that the cars are on, which is over there. That's the Rio Negro. At the moment, it's not flowing particularly quickly. The walk for the remaining part of the day, I think, essentially is parallel to the roads. There may be some road crossings as we go. I think Mombuey's another 8 or 9 kilometres from here. Speak of the devil. Hey boys. Eating some of the foliage in the area. A couple of lambs there as well. I hope you can hear me here. It's a little windy up on the rise here. Just as I said before, we're essentially tracking along the road network and the motorways into Mombuey. Still winding our way through these flatlands on this plateau we're on at the moment. Good walking, nice breeze. You can probably hear that in the microphone. Apologise for that. And the trail is the road here that it runs along does seem quite busy, so it's actually nice. There's a trail that's off the road here, and the trail is generally a pretty good quality. It gets washed out in places sometimes, but overall it's very good. It's very good moving along here. It's not too bad at all. Over in the distance there, which you may just make, it's quite a bit of smog or fog there, but there are some quite large mountains in that direction. Straight ahead, not as many, so I assume that's where we're headed. But we'll have those mountains off to our right for some time because they're quite sizable indeed. It's very peaceful. I haven't seen another walker for yonks. So again, I think I've selfishly got this all to myself again. Well, we're just entering Mombuey now. In fact, I think that's my hotel just in the distance there. About to get run over by a local on an electric scooter. One of the local bikies. That was a really good walk today. When you think of it, we started out with the river and then a lot of cornfields, plantations, then up over the lake there and the dam wall, and then around the dam and the lake, around the lake, then over the hills and into the flatlands here that we've just walked through. So a day of many different, a lot of different scenery and different character, which I really like in my walking. So yeah, a longish day. I think it's now coming on to 3 o'clock, but nevertheless a really good day's walk and a most enjoyable day. I think we've got roughly equivalent distance tomorrow. I'll give you an update when we're heading out tomorrow morning. Ciao. Good morning from Mombuey. A little earlier this morning, it's just past 7:30. We're off to Puebla de Sanabria today, and it's a walled city, apparently in a similar mould to Zamora, which I really enjoyed. So I thought, look, I wouldn't mind getting there a little earlier, just to check out the town once I'm there. We've got about 31 kilometres to walk today. So similar sort of distances to yesterday, and the forecast is, would you believe it, for a little bit of rain this morning. I looked up the forecast for Puebla de Sanabria yesterday evening, and it looked like they were going to get a little bit of rain through till about roughly 11 o'clock this morning. So we shall see. I'm looking at the cars here that I'm walking past at the moment, and there are raindrops on the cars. So it has been or raining overnight, but not a great deal. You can see my backpack cover is on today, and I've got my poncho at the ready. There are clouds in the sky, but it's still quite dark, so it's pretty hard to pick what's going on there. But it is what it is, and we will get through it. But hopefully this afternoon there won't be any rain and we can check out the town. Feel good, had a good night's stop. That hotel was good, had a great meal yesterday. Interestingly, I ordered grilled chicken yesterday for one of the courses. The meals were... That's why you don't want to walk along this road, it's too busy. The meals were enormous. The first, or the premier plateau, the first dish was huge, and then I had the grilled chicken, and it's the second time I've ordered grilled chicken here in Spain, and it was just magnificent. Very tender and yeah, good eating. So anyway, I'm all refreshed and looking forward to the day ahead. Probably should be looking out for a sign. And yeah, I hope to enjoy the wonders of Puebla de Sanabria later on this afternoon. Okay, I'll catch up with you once we've got a bit of sunlight. Ciao. Back again. Sun's up, sort of, and the rain's down, as you can see. We've had like a very light sprinkling of rain over probably a period of about half an hour, but fortunately nothing too much to worry about. Some of the signage here in terms of where to walk is a little confusing, but I'll follow the recommendations. That sign here looks a little temporary for my liking. I'll bring it over. It's just a steel stake that's been run into the ground, but obviously they're rerouting this track a bit. We've crossed the motorway, and I don't know, I might take the poncho off in a tick. Walking's been good though, track level and good quality and all that sort of stuff, so no issues there. So very little report, lots of rabbit sightings this morning, lots of rabbits darting across the trail, so it's been keeping me company. Okay, you won't see there in the distance, but there's a pack of deer, wild deer, who just skidded across this trail here. It's just wonderful to see. They look so light on their feet, perhaps unlike me, but yeah, they're just right there in that open field right in the centre. Look, there'll be dots on the screen, but they're watching me and they're listening and they're wondering what I'm doing. I think we've picked up the trails. Yeah, look, it looks like they've done some rework there through the paths, but fortunately they're all shown on the tracking app. Indeed, the person who put this trail down just took the road this morning, but as they've done in the past, and I suppose the road is very direct, but I don't necessarily want to be walking on roads, particularly in the dark, on your own, even with a flashlight. It's not safe. And indeed, these trails here, even though they pass sometimes or cover a little more territory and distance, it's very nice and tranquil here. And we've got a lot of smaller villages we're going to pass through today, so this is a real contrast to walking 30-40 kilometres with no villages, to see essentially villages and towns, aldeas, pueblos, as we go through the walk. So no real issue. And as a bonus too, Yes, I saw the fast train go past. I think the acronym, I could be wrong, ATV. I looked it up the other day, over 300 kilometers an hour. And yeah, this is a new line that they've installed, and I might indeed try it out on the way back to Madrid, just to get that sensation of speed at ground level. But yeah, you can see this is nice. No wonder the deer like it here. Just coming into my second aldea or village of the morning. This is a really nice morning to walk, actually. It's very still. This and the walking here, it's got, for those that have done walking in Galicia before on some of the other caminos, it's got a very similar feel to that. But look, the reality is we're very close to Galicia now. I think the border, I'll probably cross into Galicia in the next day or so, I think. Apologies before, yeah, this town's called Cernadilla, and there's their church there with a cemetery or graveyard just this side behind that wall there. We've got some lovely fiery autumnal colours there as well. Well, this is only about a kilometre's walk from the previous village, so this is San Salvador de Palazuelo, so our third little village or town today. This is just really pleasant walking. One thing when you walk after it's rained, right, you know, all the dust is settled, everything feels fresh and clean. Yeah, very nice. And this is very picturesque countryside. We've just been on some winding paths like this for the past couple of kilometres, and yeah, this is wonderful walking here at the moment. Just entering our next village here. The name of this village is Entrepenas, and again, looks lovely. I love these stone walls. Little church here in town, very quiet. We're just in Asturianos. It's about halfway through our trip today, and yeah, nice little town. Stopped, got a drink, and finished off half my bocadillo. One thing I have noticed about Asturianos, it is full of cats. They are everywhere. So when I was having my drink, there were 2 cats there. I've seen another cat here, and there was another cat just up here before. So I know there are a lot of, oh, look at this, there's 3 cats just there. Hang on, I don't want them jumping at me, but yeah, heaps of cats just here. Anyway, there you go. More forest walking here. You could take the road again, because we're literally just off the road, but these paths do seem in really good nick, and as you can see there, it's nice walking through here. I'd probably argue that the path is a little, or has a few more hills than the road does. So you sort of working your way up and then down, but still nothing crazy steep so far. And you've got that added safety as well. magnificent vistas ahead there. There's a sign coming up that indicates ice or an ice warning, and it does feel a bit like an alpine area here when you look at the grasses and the ground cover. And I just checked the altimeter, and we're at it says 970 meters. I haven't calibrated it for a while, but so we are at altitude here. I mean, not severe altitude, but almost 1,000 meters above sea level. So there you have it. You can see it's raining over there. Well, you probably can't see, but I can. It's raining over there. A massive valley ahead, and some very big hills as well. So yeah, it's quite an impressive vista from up here. You can see we're back on the road again. I think this will terminate at the motorway there that's off to our right, and then we've got a path into town. But yeah, very expansive from up here. Well, I'm definitely off the Camino now. Somehow, I don't know how, but I lost it. There don't seem to be many paths or trails around. And one of the challenges is there is a town sort of east of Puebla de Sanabria, on the way sort of up, but it is off to the east a fair way. I think there's an albergue there, and sometimes they can use their own or put their own arrows in to direct people. So that can be, and you can end up following their arrows, which might be good for their business, but if that's not where you're going, then it sort of is of no value whatsoever. In fact, it's more confusing. So on the mapping app I can see that there is a trail that runs up beside the motorway here on the other side, and I'm just going to follow this north or along the motorway for a while, then peel off. It's very makeshift. I mean it is a defined trail here, and I have seen other walk or shoe marks or footprints here, but yeah, I just have no idea where I am. The road I came down on is just on the other side of that valley there, but yeah, this is a real nuisance actually. I wanted to try to get into Puebla de Sanabria or Sanabria, but early, but I'm expending time getting lost. Anyway, look, it happens. This is all part of the adventure. I can see there are footprints there, so I'm not the first person that's taken this path, but it has no arrows whatsoever, and I just hope it's not too overgrown, and I hope that there is no boar hunting going on in here today. So we'll see how we go, but we seem to be on the right trail, or seem to be on a trail, and as you can see, it's actually very pretty. Where I lost the other trail, I have no idea, but anyway, we just got to move on, and it seem to be okay at this point in time. Well, it may not be the Camino, but it's not too bad. I just hope we can peel off this without having to cross over barbed wire, but we're on a very high point here, so I've got a great vista. The turn off to Puente de Sanabria from the motorway is just off there, number 79 to our right, and then that crosses the road here, so we'll be following that on this path, and I just hope we can somehow get off this This is grazing land through here, and while I thought I've seen footprints, yeah, they're more hoof prints than footprints, but it's actually been a pretty pleasant trail, but it's just not something you want to do, right? Because you could end up walking a vast distance, or fortunately it's not been that far, but you can end up walking a distance and then finding that you actually can't get out of this property that we're in at the moment. So I had to walk over an electrified wire, and managed to do that without electrocuting any parts of my body, which was nice. But yeah, this has been pretty good so far. But fingers crossed that I can get out of here in one piece and then rejoin one of the roads to bring me into town. Not quite sure. The challenge I've got is that on my tracking app, the person that put the track down stuck to the roads today. I mentioned that to you earlier, and the roads are more direct, definitely faster, but the downside is obviously they've got cars on them. They're not the motorways, but they're the secondary roads, right? No, I didn't want to do that today, so I thought I'd follow the Camino, and sure enough I've managed to lose it as well. We've made it. The fence is electrified here, but hopefully I can get over that without electrocuting my testicles, and we can be off on our way. So look, there might be a happy ending there, but you can see the the zapper, but I'll do some limbering up and we'll be able to get over that. That's not too high. We're about to enter another town. This is not one of the gazetted towns, but you can see there on the road, Camino de Santiago, and sure enough, up in front, I can see a pilgrim direction sign, and just in the gap through those trees, I can see the walled city of Puebla de Sanabria, and it's just absolutely magnificent from here. It's a pity I'm standing on a sort of a roadway, but I'll just get another photo of that. But it looks like we're somewhat back on track through miracle or just good luck. I don't think the camera will do this much justice, but that is quite incredible. It almost looks like it's in the clouds. Not looking forward to the walk up to the castle, but yeah, I'm totally lost in terms of signage and where to go here. The Rio Tera is here, so this is also on the Tera, as many of our other towns have been recently. But look, at least we're close and I can sniff it. Oh, look at that. There is a staircase there that can carry you up. Oh wow. Just crossing the bridge, climbing into town. There's the Tera there, into the sun, unfortunately. This is very touristy here. There are cars all over the place and buses. Fortunately, we don't have to head up these stairs. Our accommodation's off to the left here, or my accommodation is anyway. But yeah, this is almost a bit hard to take in, but anyway, we'll check it out later. I can see some people up on the wall right up there. roaming through the streets of Puebla de Sanabria, this place reminds me of a skiing village. It's just got that look and feel about it. Tall buildings. Though, while they make it a bit of snow here, I just checked the watch again and it says 935 metres, so even though it's not being calibrated, it's we're not super high. I wouldn't have thought we'd be into the snow band here, but it is very, very pretty. It's almost impossibly pretty, actually. Almost impossibly steep as well. I'll come back when we're up to the castle. This is the view from the wall of the fortification. You might recall we were looking up to this before as we were crossing that bridge just there over the river Tera. And you can see in the distance there road networks and the magnificence of the castle fortifications here. In reading some of the signage, it looks like that was initiated in 1200, roughly, give or take. As I say, looking at that village there, I assume that's Puebla de Sanabria again, even though it's on the other side of the river. It does look like an alpine village to some degree. This is just beautiful. I can see why there are a lot of tourists here, because this is just drop dead gorgeous. Walking around the old town here, which is where I'm staying, every shot is just picture postcard perfect. This is just a shot from the tower. I thought I'd have a look on the map as to where our walk goes tomorrow. So essentially we run back down to the river and we cross that bridge, which is sort of just over the top of that roof in the foreground, and we head out through that valley, and I assume we go through the valleys there of the big mountains. Oh well, just recapping on today. Just an absolute wonderful day. Couldn't have been happier, really. Fantastic walking, fantastic towns that I went through earlier today, the smaller villages, the sites, the countryside, the laneways. Just superb. And obviously finishing here in Puebla de Sanabria. It's well serviced. I've just picked up some items for breakfast tomorrow. I think tomorrow's another similar sort of distance day. But look, I couldn't be happier. I mean, it would have been better had I not got lost along the way, but the reality is you get here eventually, and who cares really. So, good morning from Puebla de Sanabria. We're just winding our way through town to pick up our trail, hopefully, over the other side of the river. Good night's sleep. Today we're off to Lubian, which is 31 kilometres from Puebla de Sanabria. Weather's supposed to be okay, though they are forecasting some showers for later on today. So we'll see. Hopefully, I think they're around 4 o'clock, and we should hopefully be in before then. Assuming, obviously, I don't get lost again. But just recapping, yesterday was a great day, and this is a wonderful city to visit, I must say. Extremely pretty. Not much else to report. There is one thing today. We will be reaching the highest point on this walk. So I mentioned yesterday that the watch said we were at 930 or something meters above sea level. I double checked it on the phone, and yeah, we're over 900 meters here. And I think we get to about 1300 today. That marks the tallest point or the highest point for the walk, which is not bad in a way, because then it's all downhill from here. And this, I think, is almost our last day in this region, Castilla y León. Tomorrow we will move into Galicia, which will be obviously our final, the final district or final region that we'll end up in Santiago de Compostella. So looking forward to the morning's walk, this morning's walk. It's just turned 7:30, a little earlier. We've got a slightly longer day. Well, it's pretty much the same as the previous couple of days, so it's good to leave just that little bit earlier. And I'll come back to you when we've got some sunlight. Well, back on the road again. We were off coming out of Puebla de Sanabria. There was a bit of road walking for a while, which is not nice in the dark. And then the Camino track peeled off and ran parallel with the road. But we're back onto the road again. This is interesting. We're heading into some fog here. This trail has been relatively flat, but obviously at the base of these mountains the fog is forming. Yeah, sort of, it's a nice effect. You can still make out the mountain in the distance there. It's not that thick, it's just sitting here in the valleys. Just crossed from the road onto a trail now for walkers. You can still hear we've got the motorway off to our right. We seem to be winding our way between the two roads at the moment. Coming into our first village of the day. This place is called Torosso. I think a relatively small village. I believe this is Recuero de Sanabria, so it's a town that's related in name to Puebla de Sanabria, and it's nestled here in this valley, and it's another one of these very pretty places. We've just come through a forest there, and the walk was absolutely superb. Colours, it's grazing lands, but it's natural grazing lands, so very flat grassed areas, just magnificent. Apparently this section of the Camino has been somewhat dislocated because of the fast train, and we've seen obviously the tracks before that has somewhat dislocated the path. So we might be on the road for at least the next 9 kilometres. As it happens, the verge is good, and this is the same road we were on earlier. We peeled off, headed through the hills a bit, back on it again. From what I can read, it looks like the trail will take some time to reform. This is one very, very, very quiet road, considering how nicely it's made. And maybe it's not peak season at the moment for this area, but geez, I've been on here now for at least an hour or so and would have seen 1, maybe 2 cars. It is super quiet. This will be interesting. There's a sign on the other side there that says Viaducto de los Tornos, some 329 metres. I think we're about to go into a tunnel here. Look at this engineering masterpiece here. Look at that. Okay, 80 kilometres an hour in the tunnel. I won't have to reduce my speed. 435 metres. So here we go. Oh no, this is not too bad. I think they've, because of the rediversion, or the rediversion of the Camino, or the issues they've had, I think this has been set up for walkers, and this path is plenty big enough to accommodate a walker through here. That was interesting, done, and looked relatively safe. Just walking into Padomelo. This looks like just a very, very small community just over the back there. It sits basically on the secondary road, the N525, and the motorway, which is just over to our left. I might just stop here for a drink. Again, very sort of alpine looking type building there, and we've got the church coming up here on our left. Okay, we're just on a provisional route at the moment. It obviously was put in place following the construction of the train line. Again, this isn't shown on my mapping app, or it's not the same route that I have on my mapping app. So I could I'm seeing myself getting lost again, but you know, that's probably the least of it. In fact, I can see just in the valley below there is a trail that I assume we are going to connect up with. Look at this view from up here. Very pretty in here. Though, however, we have to negotiate this this river here. Wasn't necessarily planning on that, but as he looks around in all directions trying to figure out whether or not he's missed the path. Okay, there looks like some other trails just to the edge, so I'll take those, but it is lovely in here, I must say. It's just a pity our path has turned into a bit of a riverbed, but anyway, we'll see if we can navigate this, and I'll be back to you soon. interesting here too, as we're getting through the north, what I find amusing is that there is a lichen that grows on the rocks here, on the edge and sides of the rocks. And that lichen sometimes is exactly the same colour as the actual arrows themselves. So it catches your eye a lot. Hola, buenos días. It catches your eye a fair bit, and can fool you into sometimes thinking that it's an arrow that's a little worn, but yeah, it can be very misleading. And of course, you know, you're always on the lookout for that yellow colour, so your eye's very attuned. Well, most people's is. I seem to be missing most of them, but and you pick that up. But yeah, interesting. Just found that a bit amusing. Very pleasant walking here in the valley. You may hear the water in the river just off to our left there. So we're essentially almost at the only really about 20 metres above the water level there. Welcome to Lubian. We have made it. Tengo una reserva. Gracias. Sorry about that. Some punters there asking whether or not I'm in the albergue, which I'm not. This is my accommodation straight ahead. This is a very small village. I'm talking very quietly here. Nevertheless, looks like they've got food here. De Casa de Irene. Whew. Just capping on today's walk. On 400 metres, there's a restaurant. Oh, look at the view here. Is that magnificent or what? Yeah, look, a longish day. Actually, we've done pretty good time, really. We're still at almost 1,000 metres. Look, probably not the finest day on the walk. It's not so much the hills, but it's just a lot of road walking, as you saw. But I did talk to another couple who had taken some paths near Requio de Sanabria, and they'd followed what they thought were traditional paths, but they were winding apparently all over the place, back and forth over the motorway. So in a way, maybe it's just easier taking the road, believe it or not, and it is a very quiet road indeed. It takes you over the pass and then down. The walking for the second part on the way down, not too bad. Rocky, hilly in spots, so there's a bit of climbing and some quite steep descents there. But still not too bad. So yeah, look, not a bad day, probably not my favourite day, but looking forward just to relaxing now and taking all this in. Okay, I'll speak to you tomorrow. Ciao.